Hello, brothers and sisters. Today's word of the day is justice. So what is justice? The dictionary, the online dictionary, defines justice as just behavior or treatment, or a judge or magistrate, in particular a judge of the Supreme Court of a country or state. The events of Kyle Rittenhouse, I've been reading a lot of comments people are making regarding this word. Just stating justice was served or it wasn't. So that's what we will be covering today in this video. So again, we have to just be clear on the definitions of what we're talking about. So justice, just behavior or treatment. So when somebody says justice is served, they are saying just behavior or treatment was conducted. Essentially, right? Or if you are saying justice isn't served, you are saying this isn't just behavior or treatment. Or from what I'm getting from the actual voices that I'm hearing from that side, they are frustrated because it just seems that the just behavior or treatment in their eyes and their perception is that if you are white-skinned and you are committing an act against, and here's where this case is kind of different. Everybody he shot was not black-skinned. So essentially this is white skin on white skin violence. So then the argument becomes, from the Black Lives Movement standpoint, here are, yes, white-skinned Americans who are protesting for a cause that they want to fight for, which is why they were in Kenosha protesting the verdict of, or just the outcome of the Jacob Blake incident. Correct? Now, on the flip side, Kyle, yes, he didn't live in Kenosha, but as he said in his testimony, his father lived there. He has very close ties. So this isn't just like some person who just traveled out of state specifically with the intent to go oppose this BLM movement. Agreed? Now, let's take into consideration all these factors. Kyle at the time was 17 years old, making him underage to legally purchase and or own this destructive firearm. Agreed? Now, with the loopholes in America that, have been causing all the backlash and controversy and just the division in America regarding the Second Amendment. I'm diehard American. So, yes, if Americans want to stand by the Second Amendment and say that that's why we shouldn't ban guns, then I will listen and I will agree even though I disagree. That's the compromise that I make. Now, again, this case should just point out why we need to look at guns in America. Because, yes, that was all, stacked against him. But again, Kyle, just a good kid, a white soul who just happens to be white skinned. If he was a black skinned person with the same testimony, I wouldn't look at him in a different light. I would probably look at him in a higher light, a better light than Kyle. But again, given the situation, this is a white-skinned 17-year-old boy who, from his previous criminal background history, had none. The history that he had was all positive. He was a lifeguard. He was studying, medical training. He wanted to be a police officer. And again, it was that is the trigger. Oh, here's another wannabe or up-and-coming cop who just wants to, take down black skin people or black lives. I see that when the opposing side hears all that good stuff and then is presented, oh, he wanted to be a cop. There we go. There's our burden of evidence that this guy is guilty. Agreed? Now, obviously, the people who are just like, who are these prosecutors? Like, where are they making these arguments? I get it. I've been in a court of law, where I'm like hearing a judge say, this is the state of Colorado versus Charles Payne. I'm just like, wow. I've faced a lot of foes, but an entire state, it's just, keep that in mind, if you've ever been in that position, it is a trip just to hear an entire state is against you. So then you just start hearing the case that the state presents, In my situation, it was a case where I was arrested and then ended up, having illegal substances on me that led me to be detained. This is what I was in court for. Actually, I was in court for because I went to court for that. I got my sentence. I was put on probation and I just blew my probation off. So I was now in this court for violation of probation. So ultimately I'm standing in this courtroom. I know the only person at fault for me being here is me. Unless I want to be really petty and just say well, the dealer who gave it to me is really at fault. If he just didn't do what he did, then I wouldn't be in this position. That is just, granted, I'm not going to say I probably didn't try to go that route. At the time when I was very emotional, this is my fault. But as, comedy is tragedy plus time equals comedy. That's healing. Tragedy plus time equals healing. So after time, I realized hey, that's my fault. That's my fault. If I was blaming anybody else, then I should go back and smack myself over the head and just be yo, shut up. I own up to that. Now, before I went on the stand to testify on my own behalf, I had to, again, listen to the prosecutor's arguments. Just here's another person who just thinks that they can just, go party all the time, get caught, and then, just not do what they're supposed to do. And I'm sick of it, Judge. We cannot let citizens like this just think that they could just go act above the law. This is the problem. So now that I'm saying that now, this is kind of the opposite. I feel like this prosecutor was telling me here's another white soul privileged person just thinking hey, just because I'm a good person, I screwed up one time. Yeah, I admit it. I screwed up. I'll be better and blah, 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 blah. But I can do that without probation, stuff like that. Essentially, again, this is just all right now, me being very raw. But essentially, that's what I took, or what I was taking from that, just And again, I've made comments just like to people who are just like focusing on the prosecutor. You know, like ultimately the good that I see from the arguments that the prosecutors, you know, Binger and stuff like that brought up when they were, you know, cross-examining Kyle is just like, hey, trust me, we get your intent. That's clear as day. Any reasonable person can see your intentions were good. What the prosecution, I believe, pointed out clearly is the better way, or just the other perception of his actions not being aligned with his heart's intent. Does that make sense? So if he is truly some kid who just cared about his town and just wanted to help people, like, did he really need a gun? Do you need a gun to do that? You know, and I could tell when the prosecutor said that, like Kyle like took that and he was like, yeah. But again, if we want to point fingers, you got to blame ourselves as Americans. Like, especially the adults in America. Like, we screwed up so much that now kids like Kyle, you know, 18 and under, who just want to do good, subconsciously or, you know, unconsciously just feel that they need a gun to do good. Now, you know, when I heard Kyle talk about this wasn't the case. I don't think that he felt he needed that gun for protection. He just saw his friends arming themselves, and he just said, hey, why don't we go get me a gun? That's what he said. Why don't we go get me a gun? You know, but he knew he wasn't old enough, and he got his buddy Dominic to get the gun for him, and he did it strictly by the law. You know, he had him purchase it. He had a transfer agreement, you know, all set and stuff like that. He did it lawfully. So, regardless of whether he felt it was necessary or he just wanted it, based on that part of the testimony, it's regardless. You know, like, he did it all right, so that's fine. Now, let's move on. Now he's got the gun. Now he's got the heart to go do intent. Good, do good, protect this building. That's what he was doing. From what I saw, that's what he was doing. Then here we go with Rosenbaum and Gross, Gage and Hugh. I don't know. We got to look at, like, here are just people at a movement that has been just the pulse of America. You know, like, anytime we see this, we know there's going to be one of these movements. And whenever there's one of these movements, yes, there's peace. But for some reason, it just ends up ending in fire and violence and chaos, which happened before Kyle got there. These black lives, these people trying to say, like, hey, they matter. And they express that by burning up an entire lot of cars and just destroying the town. Is that really making a strong argument for anybody to listen to what they have to say? Hey, I just burnt your lot down. I matter. It's like, okay, yeah, you matter. You matter in the sense that if you're not stopped and this is how you're going to show us that you matter, instead of actually going out into the world and doing something good that helps people in a direct way, then yeah, if that's why you matter, I, as a child of God, will accept that. But again, there's a better way. So if that is your route, then I think what matters to me is that I need to put out those embers. You know, as a white soul, you know, with the light in me, bright. I know my light is bright, and I see this black light saying this is how he is expressing he matters. White supremacy to me is just a white soul taking upon himself to show this black soul or these black souls that it is the light that is supreme. You know? And the way that that is being perceived is not the light. That is just more darkness. Now, I'm not going to do that with a gun in my hand to make you listen. You know, I was given a gift of God, a gift from God, to be able to just sit down and try to listen to what, you know, my brethren have to say who are sitting on the opposite side. And I have a gift to be able to just put myself in their shoes so that I can somehow build a bridge between us that we can both cross and just kind of come to the middle and just like hug it out. Now, I'm a yellow skin person. Does that have anything to do with it? Maybe, maybe not. But if I'm looking at white skin fighting black skin, screaming it's a white versus black issue, I'm just like, well, then I have no involvement in this. I have no involvement. But again, as an American, like, I feel involved. But why am I involved? Because I've been in a very black, dark time in my life. I've gotten out of it through the help of very good people who just had that light in them, the white bathed in them, who knew that it was their duty to help a soul like me get out of my funk so that I too can open and expose the light in me that they see so that the world could see. And that's a beautiful thing, guys. You know? But they didn't do it because I'm just an Asian person. At least I hope they didn't. You know, I can't 100% that wasn't their intent. But just please, like, don't think that the color of your skin automatically grants you a certain position or status in our society. But if you do, then that's your choice. And you will be judged upon it based on your actions. So if you are just a white-skinned person who thinks that you have a privilege to do these actions against black people or black-skinned people especially, then you will be judged at the time of reckoning when it comes. That's life. And if you are a black-skinned person who is just trying to regain the light inside them through the actions that you conduct in your life, again, that's your choice, and you will be judged accordingly. So in the terms of Josh Rosenberg and Anthony Hubert, these two men who are not here to defend their side, we as Americans must not forget, just, hey, they're just two souls who were just at a point in time because they believed in something. And through the course of events, ended up sacrificing their lives so that we as Americans could come to this point where we are having this discussion. So to the Hubert family and Rosenbaum family, like, just personally from this soul, like, I just, you know, my heart goes out to your loss and all that stuff, but just know that I am so grateful that that your family members gave their lives towards a cause that I feel will lead to the greater good. And so for that, thank you, and may God be with you forever. And just know that we'll get through this. You know, your loved ones' contributions aren't forgotten. I promise you that. And as long as I'm alive, I will uphold their memory in the highest light I can. But I need your help. I need your help to just be reasonable and just be able to listen to the other side. So with that said, to the other side, yes, this is a great day. This is a great day where justice, in my opinion, was served. This young man was judged and ruled against based on his behavior. And to me, that's why I would say justice is served. But again, I understand the opposing side. But in this case, justice was served. Our judicial system works, guys. It works, you know? And just because it didn't work out the way you wanted it to work out doesn't mean that it doesn't work. You know? Just because you place a bet on the Broncos because it was like a clear, surefire winner, and then it loses. Like what? Doesn't mean sports betting doesn't work. It just means like, hey. I don't know if that was a good analogy. But again, just justice. Was justice served? I feel it was. And I hope that if you were somebody who agreed or didn't agree, after watching this video, you find yourself in a position where you are closer to the middle, rather than just, you know, positioning yourself further and further from the other side. So with that, thank you again for watching, and please leave your comments. Yeah, if you have another word you would like to submit for discussion, please do so in the comments. But again, Charles Payne Chaplin saying I love you. I'm here for you. And just, hey, we can get through this, guys, together. But we just got to listen. So that being said, love one another, do good. Everything will be good.